All right, let's now go to this issue growing in prominence more and more, isn't it? After so much silence for so long, and that's the treatment of gender dysphoria and Australian children. Last night I covered the revelations in The Australian about how a Melbourne high school was encouraging children as young as 12 to reconsider their gender, assuring that they wouldn't tell anyone if they were going to reconsider whether they were a boy or a girl, meaning the parents wouldn't need to know. And now today, news reports that a significant report has landed on the desks of family law judges in the family court from a barrister, Belle Lane, urging the court to reassess the science that governs cases of gender dysphoria in children at risk, she says, if it's not got right, that the court would then contribute to the worst medical scandal in 100 years. Belle Lane points out that much of the evidence for the Australian standard of care is based on the so-called Dutch gold standard model. She says there's now serious concerns about the reliability of this model. Lane writes that many of the children have complex mental health, neurodiversity and adverse childhood experiences. Most of these children would have been excluded under the original Dutch protocol. However, now almost all of the safeguards of the original Dutch protocols have been removed. She goes on to say that it would not meet the standards of evidence-based medicine today. Complex? Absolutely. We've got to get this right. Joining me now, Gender Clinic News journalist Bernard Lane. Bernard, welcome. Look, before we get into the detail of this Dutch study, I don't want to get too complex here, but give us an understanding so people at home can follow this. What role does the family court have in the issue of gender dysphoria and children?
Okay, Peter. Well, if we consider the situation that we're in, we have this unexplained, unprecedented surge of teenagers, mostly girls, wanting medicalised gender change. And one reason that we're in that situation in Australia is the family court. The family court used to have the role of supervising all of the treatment decisions for minors if they were seeking puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones or surgery. And in a series of test cases, the family court was persuaded that the science of gender dysphoria had reached such a state, it was settled science, and the judges could wind back their supervision of these treatment decisions.
So bring us forward then to this concern that the model we use, the Dutch model, isn't what we thought it was.
Okay. Well, we've had a series of cases in the family court over 10 years, and they in effect gave their imprimatur to the gender-affirming medical interventions, which were pioneered by the Dutch, and those are the puberty blockers, which can be given as young as age 10, cross-sex hormones a few years later, and sometimes in Australia, minors get mastectomy surgery. Now, the significance of this paper from the barrister Belle Lane is that she is seeking to bring the judges up to date with the intense international debate about these medical treatments, going right back to the reliability of the Dutch research. And Belle Lane is showing the stark contradiction between the family court cases with their superficial and very one-sided endorsement of these medical treatments on the one hand, and the intense debate about the risks and the nuances of the outcomes on the other hand.
Particularly in relation to young girls, and we saw that play out in Tavistock. So what happens now, Bernard? Where does it go from here?
Well, I think it's quite significant that Belle Lane was, I assume, invited to give her presentation to the judges of the Federal Circuit and the Family Court. These are the judges who have to decide cases about whether or not to go ahead with medical treatment for a minor in the situation where the parents disagree. And I'm told this is happening more and more often. These cases are working their way through the system. And so the question is, when a family law judge is making this incredibly important decision with lifelong consequences for these children, what is the evidence base that the family court judge is aware of? Has the family court judge been given a balanced and up-to-date impression of the state of the debate, or has it been a one-sided, superficial promotion of the gender-affirming medical treatments? So the hope, I assume, of Bill Lane's paper is that it will really lift the level of information and knowledge among those judges about this, really important social and medical issue.
Thank you, Bernard. We'll stay across it. I'm sure there'll be much more to report as this gets, more and more pervasive. Thank you for your time.